guys, welcome out to Level Up Your Leadership with me, John Barrett, where I'm going to give you leadership lessons in a visual way to help you level up. Today we're going to talk about toolboxes and tool belts. If you are going to get better as a leader, if you're going to begin to develop your team around you, you've got to begin to expose them to different tools and opportunities for them to grow. In fact, people have a certain skill level. Things that they're good at just naturally, the things that we're wired with, the things that we organically just have picked up on in life with our experiences and our personalities and all that. There is a natural, organic opportunity of skills that we have. However, if you're going to help people grow, if you're going to grow, you've got to begin to expand your skills. And the only way to do that is to get tools to make that happen. And the more tools you get exposed to with leadership training and coaching and opportunities and frameworks of how to be successful, how to communicate, how to be more productive, how to be able to have better conversation, how to lead effectively, how to do all the things of delegation and all the things that we talk about on this whole channel and all the things that I've devoted my life to learn. It's all about growing tools. And the more you expose yourself to more tools, and more frameworks and opportunities through mentors, books that you read, podcasts, videos, all that, you are always increasing your opportunities. In fact, if you want to level up your ability, then you're going to level up your possibilities. If you're going to level up your ability, you're going to level up your possibilities. Because as your ability goes up, your possibility goes up. So if you want to expand your success, expand your influence, be able to do great things as a leader and lead others effectively and lead yourself effectively, you've got to have tools to do it. Now, here's the deal. The more tools that you expose yourself to, the more things that you do to grow yourself, you're going to begin to build a toolbox. And in this toolbox, you're going to have all these tools in here that are resting. This is the toolbox. And as you grow your tools, you're going to have a toolbox. And you're going to be able to build a great organization, a great team, a great success, a great level of success because of the tools that you've got. I don't know how many times that when we're doing something around the house and I need to go work on something, I go out to the garage and I go try to find the toolbox and go to the shed and try to figure out what tools I've got. And the more tools I've got, guess what? The more effective and successful I can be at what I'm trying to build. It's no different in your organization. Are you not only equipping yourself to have tools so that you've got a toolbox, a leadership toolbox, but are you equipping others in your organization to have their own toolbox? Are you helping to develop them and teach them how to be better and more successful and more productive? As a leader, it's not your job just to direct everybody. It's your job to develop them. How do you do that? You teach them about tools and you build their toolbox. Now, here's the thing though. Toolboxes are great. You got to have it. That's the first step. But the reality is we've got to get to something even greater. And what I call the tool belt, the leadership tool belt. And this leadership tool belt is right here. This is where you've got all the tools on you at your disposal. Whatever you need, you've got them available. Now, it was a great day for me. I'm not a handy person, but it was a great day when I realized, and I went to the hardware store, I'll never forget, this was years ago, and I saw a tool belt, and I thought, I'm getting me one. That's right. I'm leveling up, home improvement style. I'm getting a tool belt. Now, that's pretty common to most people, especially if you're in construction and done that, but I just never did it. I'm not a real handy person. But I got a tool belt. Guys, it changed my life. I'm telling you. When I went from the toolbox and I went over here to the tool belt, all of a sudden I found myself up on the ladder. Instead of only having one tool and thinking that my drill was a hammer, it was also a level, it was also anything else I needed it for. Instead of that, I realized that when I was up there, I didn't have to come down, go back to my toolbox. I could reach down and I had everything I needed. It was a great day. Listen, I felt like a man. I felt good. And I think in leadership, this is so vital. First step over here, you've got to create a toolbox. Expose yourself and your team to tools. But you've got to begin to go to step 2, which is what? Begin to equip people with how do they use those tools in the moment. See, when you've got a tool belt, you don't have to go back to the toolbox. You've got it right there readily available. That means this, whenever you're having an interaction with another person and there is a problem, all of a sudden now there's conflict. Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to reach into your tool belt? Do you know how to deal with conflict? You don't have to say, well, hold on, I think I went to a training a while back and they talked about conflict. Let me go back to that book real quick. You don't have an opportunity to do that. Listen, when the moment arises, you got to be ready to go in the moment. You got to deal with that situation. That means you got to get equipped with a tool belt. What do I mean by a tool belt? Listen, you've got to make sure that not only you, but you're also developing your team to practice using those tools. That this is how we're going to deal with conflict when it arises. We're going to go right to our tool belt and we're going to utilize this framework or this strategy. You need to equip your people to be able to have access quickly to different frameworks and different ways and strategies that you deal with it. As an organization, you should know how you deal with it. In fact, I go to organizations all the time. We have a whole training that we do called the Conflict Compass, where we help organizations create a compass for how we're going to deal with conflict. And everybody learns about it, not just a few leaders or a few team members. Everybody does, because it's a compass for the organization. And I love to do that because it's one great example of when we go into the organization and we say, when it comes to conflict, when you're having conflict with somebody else, as an organization, this is what is in our tool belt. We are going to use this framework, done, did, do. We're going to use the 24-hour rule, the bold, humble rule. Now, I'm saying things to you, you're probably like going, what are you talking about? Well, that's because you don't know what those tools are. I just spit off to you 3 tools that I teach in that workshop. The done, did, do method, the 24-hour rule, the bold, humble rule. These are all things, tools that we use that you utilize when you face conflict with another person. Now, if you don't teach that stuff to your organization and they don't have a tool belt or let alone even have anything in the toolbox, how are you expecting them to deal with conflict? How are you going to deal with conflict as a leader if you've not exposed yourself to tools so that you've got a toolbox, but that you also practice and utilize on a daily basis so that you know what to do when conflict arises, for example? See, this is vital. You've got to build a toolbox, but you've also got to make sure that you've got a tool belt. So what I want to ask you is, what are your frameworks in your organization? How do you deal with things? What are your core values? What are the core ways and processes and the core frameworks that you use for accountability, for conflict, for productivity? If you say, we were going to be more productive in this organization, what are you doing to equip yourself to have tools to do it? What are you doing to equip your team to have the right tools to be more productive? And what does that mean? How can we all align to the same tools so that we can build this thing the right way? So it's not just so-and-so that went to a conference and they got really great tools and that, but nobody else knows about it in the organization. If you're the leader of a team or a department or the entire organization, I want to challenge you. Make sure that you start taking tools and you start teaching them to your team, learn them, and then teach them to your team. Bring them in to opportunities where they can begin to get an organizational tool so that you guys can begin to have toolboxes and tool belts so that you can be effective in all that you do. Guys, this is huge. I love working with teams and organizations and helping them build a toolbox and a tool belt so that they know how to deal with different situations when they arise. And I want to encourage you to do it. Go to johnbarrettleadership.com. Go get the Level Up Guide where you can learn some great things about this. You can talk about some group questions about how as a team you're going to build your tools and what this even means. It's going to be a great Kickstarter for some great conversation so that you all get on the same page, so that you all are playing from the same playbook, the same framework, that you all have access to the same tools, and that you're utilizing them to be more successful. Go check it out at johnbarrettleadership.com. Reach out to us today so we can help take you and your team to the next level.